back on the writing journey. I have a massive glare in my glasses. Hopefully this thing doesn't refocus like 20,000 times while we're doing the video, but we're gonna roll with it. That's right, guys. Welcome back to Zach's writing journey. You guys like my campfire in the background? My snowy campfire to get into the mood. I don't know why I did the creepy fingers. We're in the holiday season now. I use that a lot for like reading and writing. It just gets me in the mood to do what I'm doing. But I realize it's been a while since I've made some content on this channel. And to be honest with you, it's because this channel has been kind of directionless. There really hasn't been anything. I don't know how to say this. This channel's not like my other channel was. My Cavern of Terror channel was all about, trying to get reviews out there, trying to, do this, do that. And this channel is really not like that. This channel doesn't really have that kind of hardcore goal. This one is just more to update you guys, tell you what I'm reading, tell you how the book is going. And I've been neglecting that, and I don't want to do that anymore. That being said, there probably won't be as many videos as I'd like to put up over here, but the ones that do come up will be meaningful. So that being said, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in this video. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the fact that book 1 in Ashmore, at least book 1's first draft, is done. I just started doing the second draft of Ashmore book 1, and that was my Instagram going off. I started doing the second draft of Ashmore book 1, and that meaning I'm doing edits, which edits are fun. I never hated my own writing this much in my entire life, but we're getting there. So I think some really cool changes have happened. I'm really getting back into the mindset of these characters in the first book, what was going on. Because when I was writing book 1, Guardians, I felt like the first half of the book had issues. It wasn't as strong as the second half of the book, because when I was in the second half, a lot of things were coming together at the end, and the characters were where they were supposed to be. Everybody was as strong as they should have been. What I wanted the story to end up being is what happened in the second half. So the first half of the book has a lot of issues, had a lot of issues that I went back and I was like, oh, let's fix this, let's change that, let's do this scene differently. So that's happening right now in the second draft. I'm hoping that maybe 3 drafts will be done with the first one. So it ended up being 253 pages before edits. The last time I updated you guys, it was 30,000 words, I think. I hit 30,000 words. It was very close. It was like 29,990 something. But we are at 50,000, 51,000, almost 52,000 words. So the book's probably going to end up being around 60,000, if not more, by the time I'm finished. If the edits keep coming the way that they are, I can almost guarantee you it's going to be 60,000 words. So with that being said, the book did come, and you can see it does not have the cover that I looked for, that I wanted to make. And I will show you right here what the cover was. This was the cover for Ashmore Guardians. I put it up on my Instagram page. You can check it out at Zachary L. Mall. That's my Instagram. And initially, I was very excited about that. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to change it. I'm going to have to change it regardless because of the edits. The edits have just made the book bigger and the dimensions have changed. So I feel like I want to change the cover. And it's been so long in between updates that I think I can get away with that and change the cover of the book to something that I want more. I might not have been as transparent as I thought I should be. That cover is not really what I asked for. I didn't ask for green. I asked for blue and purple. I asked for dark black, which I kind of got, and I got the background image that I wanted. I got the poses that I wanted. I did not get the font that I wanted. I didn't get the colors that I wanted. So at the end of the day, we're not going to go through with that cover. I'm actually looking at Enchanted Ink right now to get a better cover, to help me with the formatting, because I am doing all the formatting myself. I'm doing a lot of the proofreading myself, all that, but I am going to get it professionally formatted. If what I have is not up to par, and I'm also going to get it professionally edited. I'm doing all that stuff through a different company. I'm, of course, going to do all the initial edits myself, but after that, I'm going to pass it off to someone else, have it professionally done. That way, we have a good product here. And there are some things formatting wise that I'd like to add that I can't do myself. So, going through with a company, I think, is a better option for me. That being said, there will be a new cover. So, there will be a new cover reveal. And think of this as a update and a reboot on the book, because this is not the final product. It's not. But I do have a story to tell you about book one when my proofs came in the mail. They came in the mail around the end of December, and I had actually taken the rest of my vacation from my 9 to 5. Um, I was excited because the books were, the books were going to come. The first draft was completed. I was excited to get it so I could write in the margins and, just really get into the book and see like all the pages for the first time. And it came. I checked it out. My daughter was there with me. My parents were there. We looked at the book. Everybody was excited. And I started to feel sick. I got COVID right after my books came. So I could enjoy them for about 30 minutes, and then I started to feel sick. I was incapacitated by the next morning. I was tested. I had COVID. I was sick for about a week. I used a week's worth of my vacation at the beginning of the next year, because I had all this time off, and I was going to, start book 2 and do the edits for book 1, and all the plans that I had for Ashmore Guardians just kind of fell to the wayside while I was sick. So I got sick, got back into writing, and now we're into book 2. Not book 2, the second draft in the new cover. So what we're doing right now is working on the second draft, which I feel like is coming together much better. I'm tweaking things that need to be tweaked. I'm changing scenes, you know what I mean? I'm doing all the things that need to be done for the second draft. I'm fixing spelling issues, grammar issues, character motivation. Some things are different this time around, and I'm not doing anything drastic. I'm just tweaking things. That's like I said, I'm just tweaking things. So that's where we're at with Ashmore Guardians, with the first book in this series. It will be a 6-book young adult urban fantasy, and I am extremely excited to start work on the second draft. That being said, I have started work on the second. I can't talk. I'm excited to start book 2, which I have already started writing book 2. I'm extremely excited to get back into the heads of these characters, and it's just an eye-opening experience to be able to jump back into the heads of these characters after writing them for so long in the first book. So getting back into the world of Ashmore and seeing where the characters are now from when I started writing them almost 2 years ago. It's nice getting back into the world and getting with the characters again, and even doing the second draft, getting back into the characters. So that's where we are with my book. Moving on from that, we can get into what I'm reading at the current time. I want to keep you guys updated on my reading habits. So, the last time I talked to you guys, I was reading the Chronicles of Nick. Actually, give me a minute. I was reading this book, Infinity, Chronicles of Nick, by Sherilyn Kenyon. There's a reason why I was reading this book. Is because it is a young adult urban fantasy from a male perspective. So I wanted to read it just to get an idea of what another author was doing in their world, to give me some inspiration on my series. So I ended up really liking this first book. I did a review on it on the channel. You can go back and watch that. I'm not the best at reviewing books. But I really did enjoy this book. Had a really good time with it. So I went on and read Infamous and Invincible. So Invincible is the second book, Infamous is the third book, and both of these were extremely enjoyable. I really, really liked both these books. Not quite on the par of the first one, but I did enjoy them. It's a pretty good series so far. And with that being said, what I'm reading right now is Inferno, the fourth book in the series. So I'm almost, you can't really tell with the light, I'm about halfway through, the fourth book in the series. Super fun. If you don't know about this series, it's about Nick Gaucher. It takes place in New Orleans. It is a spin-off companion piece to her Dark Hunters universe, her paranormal romance series. So this is actually told from a different alternate universe with a character that's from that world. So it's a lot, but it is really fun. And if you like dark urban fantasy stories, then this is for you. Also, I put up a short a while ago about Malice by John Gwynne. So I'm reading it. It is my legit first ever high fantasy series. I gotta thank a bunch of the booktubers out there that have praised John Gwynne's writing. Daniel Green being one of the biggest, and Mike from Mike's Book Reviews. Really, really like his channel. So he covers a bunch of stuff. Stephen King, horror in general, high fantasy, a lot of really cool stuff that he does on his channel, and of course Daniel Green. So this is the first in the Faithful and the Fallen series, and it's the first real big high fantasy series that I wanted to try. But like, I heard his writing was really readable. I was like, okay, let me check out Malice. It's really good. It's really good. It's a lot less dense than I thought it was going to be, because honestly, when I was younger, I kind of strayed away from reading high fantasy because I thought it would be too dense. Because I attempted to read C.S. Lewis and the Chronicles of Narnia, and I just wasn't into it. Tried to read Lord of the Rings, didn't get into it, and I kind of strayed away from high fantasy because of that. So I was apprehensive, but I gave it a try, and I loved it. And as of right now, I am on chapter 9, and I'm almost 100 pages deep. I'm 73 pages into this massive book. It's not even that big. It's over 600 pages. The fifth Harry Potter book is bigger than this one. So, and I read it. It's about giants versus man, basically, and they're still setting up new characters in this, and I'm 70 pages in. So I will let you guys know what I think of Malice when I finish it, but I am reading that right now. Speaking of Harry Potter, I'm reading the Harry Potter series over again. I started, you like my my receipt bookmark. This is actually the only edition of Harry Potter that I have. I bought it from the book fair when I was 10 years old, maybe, and started reading the Harry Potter series. So this was a little while after the first book had come out, but I bought it from the book fair, fell in love with the series. I read it several times. I raced my sister. That's right, calling you out. We're doing it again. I haven't told her yet, so it's happening. But I'm reading the Harry Potter series again. I decided that I was going to. I started reading the book to my daughter, and I really do want to read the whole story again with a more adult perspective, because when I finished the series, I was maybe 18, 19 by the time the series had actually ended with Deathly Hallows. So yeah, reading Harry Potter again, huge fan. I am a Ravenclaw, by the way. Working on getting a Ravenclaw mug for me to drink my cafe with me. I don't know why I said it like that, but I am a Ravenclaw. And the astronomy tower is where our common room is. So anyway, Harry Potter, reading it again. Really excited. to finish that story. Stephen King. That's right. I picked up a special edition. Now this was a Books a Million exclusive, but you can find it at like Secondhand Charles, Salem's Lot. I wanted to read the book with the upcoming movie release, and this edition is really cool. It glowed in the dark originally, but it was sitting on the shelf for so long it doesn't glow in the dark anymore. But this is a much bigger text version of the actual hard paperback that I have that is being demolished because I read it at work, so the pages are all black. They're getting gray. I'm not taking very good care of that book, but it's my daily beater book, so this is the one that I wanted to keep on that black shelf or brown shelf. Also, speaking of Game of Thrones from earlier, I picked up this second edition of Game of Thrones. This was very cheap. It was $4, but I'd never seen this artwork before for Game of Thrones. I think there's Ghost there, Jon Snow on the cover. That's a really, really cool version of Game of Thrones. I had to pick it up. Funny thing, if you ever go to the Secondhand Charles that I go to, there's a little tag underneath the shelf that says Game of Thrones, and it has the next two titles for the books that aren't out yet, and it has a sad face that says sorry they're not here. But I had to pick this one up. If I look at where is it? Had the copyright on this one. It says September 19. Actually, I don't know. 1997 was the year that this paperback came out, so that is really cool. The next one is really special. It is the first book that I remember reading in reading class when I was in 8th grade, and that is The Giver by Lois Lowry. And I think this is one of the OG original dystopian young adult books that, like, if you look at the spacing, it's double spaced, it's bigger fonts. It's only like 200, it's not even 230 pages. It's like 220 pages. So I could probably tear through this book in a day, maybe half a day if I wanted to. But this book is fantastic. If you have not read The Giver, younger people out there, if you have not read this book, it's really good. I'm not going to really spoil anything about it if you have not read it, but I will let you know that it takes place in a futuristic, utopian society, and that's all I'm going to tell you. It's a really, really good book, though. One of my favorite books when I was a kid, and I want to read it again, and I had to have it on my shelf. So, The Giver, had to get this. And the movie's not very bad either. It's on Netflix. Check it out. Oh, these are heavy. So, speaking of Daniel Green and Mike's book reviews in high fantasy, I picked up The Wheel of Time. Robert Jordan. Never read The Wheel of Time ever. I heard of it. Funny story about when I was not little. I was a young teen. I was probably 14. And 15, 16, I can't remember. But I went to Borders. I don't know if Borders are still around. I don't think they are. But went in and I saw one of the later Wheel of Time books written by Brandon Sanderson. And I was like, okay, let's check this out. Never ended up checking it out. And then when I discovered BookTube, I discovered guys like Daniel Green and Mike from Mike's Book Reviews that had read Robert Jordan. And I finally decided to pull the trigger. So I have Wheel of Time. I plan on reading it eventually. I want to get through the entire Faithful and the Fallen series before I read Wheel of Time, because Wheel of Time is 14 books. So we're not going to do that right away, but Wheel of Time will be happening. And the last one that I have here is a Tad Williams book, and that is The Dragonbone Chair. So I have heard from a lot of old school high fantasy fans that this is a series that you absolutely need to read. Ted Williams is a godfather of the high fantasy genre, and you have to read this series. So I picked up the first book. Actually, I went to Barnes and Noble, which is like 2 hours away from me, to get some books, and I had the Dragonbone chair in my hand. Dude walked over to me and he's like, "Man, it's a really good book. It was the first high fantasy book I ever read." So I was like, "Okay, Tad Williams must be the man, so I'm gonna pick it up." So I don't know when I'm gonna get to this, but I am gonna get to it. So this video ended up being a lot more than I wanted it to be, but I just wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on with Ashmore and where we're at with that. So we're on the second draft. We have started book 2, and we are on the path of getting a new cover. So hopefully I'll have that resolved very soon by the time I'm done with the second draft, if not third draft. And we got a bunch of reading to do as well. As Stephen King says, as soon as you stop reading, you stop being a writer. So I am going to continue to do that. Also, I got a bunch of Stephen King books. Going to have to do a separate video on that. I'm not going to do that here because this video is probably already really long. So with that said, guys, I got to get into some edits. I got some stuff to do. So until I see you guys in the next one, take it easy.